ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरुवे नमः। समस्त जन कल्याणाय निरतं करुणां नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं नमो विठ्ठलं। हरि ओम। Tapovan Prasad, Spiritual Monthly of Chinmay Mission Worldwide, August 2025. Tapovan Uvacha. Why rush here and there to enjoy the beauty of beautiful objects? Immerse yourself in happiness in the principle of self. Purify yourself and keep the self in view every moment of your life. Kaunteya Pratijanihi na vimukta pranashati. O Kaunteya, know for certain that my devotee will never perish. संसार कूपे पतितोत्यगाधे मोहांधपूर्णे विषा याभितप्ते करावलंबम मोदे विष्णु गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति. O Vishnu, Govinda, Madhav, Damodar, please give the support of your hands to me, who has fallen into the deep well of samsara, which is full of the darkness of delusion and the scorching heat of worldly objects. Through Govinda Damodar Stotram, verse 50. यस्य स्मरणमात्रेण भक्ता शिष्याश्च सेवकाः प्रेरणां प्राप्नुवन्ति चिन्मयं त्वं वयं नमः. Our prostration to Swami Chinmayananda, by whose remembrance devotees, students and workers get inspired. Chinmay Namamrita Stotram, verse 1. Swami Tejavananda. Fighting for freedom. The word freedom often evokes stirring images of India's struggle for independence from British rule. As the young Balakrishnan Menon, Gurudev actively participated in the Quit India movement and was imprisoned for his underground nationalist activities. His fierce patriotism found further expression through his writings in the National Herald, where under the pseudonym Mochi Cobbler, he fearlessly urged Indians to rediscover the beauty of their cultural heritage. Yet his vision extended far beyond national borders. He turned his attention to a far more binding form of slavery, the bondage of ignorance. He fought for true freedom, the freedom to transcend the tyranny of the body, mind, and intellect, to break through the layers of false identifications, to rise above all limitations, and rediscover one's own infinite, blissful, divine nature. Pujya Gurudev's weapons were neither guns nor swords, but the piercing power of the words of a realized one. In packed auditoriums, in the quiet pages of books, and vast open fields, thousands gathered to hear his call. He wielded the Gita and the Upanishads as his artillery, and self-knowledge as his ammunition. Fight, O son of India, discard your defeatist mentality and face wholeheartedly and sincerely the situations in every given field of life, at every given moment of existence. By establishing study groups, Balvihars, Chinmay Yuva Kendra programs, and Chinmay Vidyalayas, he led a quiet revolution that nurtured a generation grounded in spiritual values and committed to social responsibility. His patriotism was transformational. Freedom is where there is no bondage, limitation, want, or desire. Spiritual freedom is our birthright. We have it, but we know it not. Let us offer our deepest gratitude to this great master by knowing ourselves and by being truly free. Aradhana Day message as we celebrate Chinmay Amrit Mahotsav, a sacred commemoration of 75 glorious years of the Chinmay movement led by Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda. Let us deepen our commitment to sadhana, sadhyaya, seva. Be immersed in the boundless depth of his vision and mission. Arise in reverence with devoted hearts and firm conviction. Act as his instruments to reflect his majesty and spread his love. March ahead to make his celebration a glorious offering, to make this celebration a glorious offering at his feet. Reach out far and wide to let him touch hearts and transform lives. Above all, let us with loving gratitude offer ourselves to the one whose knowledge awakened us, whose compassion nurtured us, and whose eternal presence is our Amrit, the divine nectar of grace. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Swami Sarupananda. Puja Gurudev's interview with Pritesh Nandi, Part 3. Swami Chinmayananda. We continue with the concluding part of Puja Gurudev's interview with Pritesh Nandi that took place in 1981 and was published in Sunday Anand Bazar publication, Calcutta, as a cover story with the title It Must Be Tough to Be a Guru. Nandi asked Puja Gurudev after a particularly tiresome session. Not tough, it's lonely, said Hinduism's most famous hostage. How does a man detach himself from the world around him? Oh Narayan, that is all yoga, including rituals, chuckles. The rituals that you rejected, all these are necessary in order to learn the art of inner withdrawal. Stand apart as a witness to everything, even anger. They are in me, I am not in them. You must feel this just as an ocean does. How do you think an ocean would introduce itself? What you see as waves are in me, but I am not in them. Each wave, conceiving itself as a separate entity, has a birth date. It grows, reaches its highest peak, becomes vain, and starts dipping. O Lord, what have I done that this should happen to me? It asks, until at last the small waves start eating it up. Millions of waves have I eaten up myself, and now these waves are eating me up. It thinks. The downcast wave starts screaming like this. Millions of waves are always screaming. It is these stupid waves that make the roar of the seas. But the ocean says, the waves are in me, yes, without me there can be no waves. But the sorrows and joys of the waves are not mine. For why should the ocean be happy when a solitary wave is rising? Or why should it cry when a wave is dying? In this way, you will have to detach yourself. The body, the mind, and the intellect are in you, but you are not in them. You are not a shareholder in their joys and sorrows. Only then can you become a man free from the equipments of life. This is called freedom or mukti. But can a society like ours progress in materialistic terms and retain this spiritual freedom? Material development is not possible without inner development. Character is important. Why is it that the Chinese, Japanese, and Americans are so good at materialism? Isn't it because they have materialistic ethics, commercial ethics? The concept of progress is largely a Western ideal. We never had progress on an altar in India. In fact, this Western concept of progress should strike us as illusory, Maya. Why are you, Aswami, impressed by such norms of progress? Isn't this kind of progress aligned to our culture? No, Lakshmi is worshipped in India, but we never worship Lakshmi without Narayan. What we want now is the so called materialistic civilization. That is, we should ignore Narayan and wink at Lakshmi. Be careful. Lakshmi without Narayan or wealth without character is suicidal. A rash young man suddenly gets money, he will damn himself. A man of character acquires wealth, he will use it wisely. Can modern science and religion coexist intelligently without constantly being at war? Must they walk separate routes? You are talking in the language of 19th century. A century ago, this question was a valid one. It no longer is. Physics and metaphysics have merged today. Are you referring to the attempts of people like Fritz of Capra to bring Western physics and Eastern mysticism onto a common platform? Are you referring to books like The Tao of Physics or The Dancing Wu Li Masters? Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful books, like the one about the repair of motorcycles. Jane and the art of motorcycle maintenance. Yeah, magnificent book. Like our Vedic textbooks, we have always studied material sciences alongside religious sciences. This integration has always been present in our scriptures. Ayurveda, medicinal science, is a part of our Vedas. It is only through the materialistic sciences that we can reach out to the higher. We have been sent here to exhaustively chew the world around us, to chew it and spit it out with no regrets. If a man runs after woman and wine, don't blame him. Let him do it intelligently. There's nothing wrong with that. But what is life? And how can one learn to face death with greater confidence? With knowledge, even today in Africa, they are afraid of 1,000 things that we are afraid of many years ago. Knowledge is the answer to all fears, even death. Today you are afraid of death because you don't know what it is. Fear arises out of ignorance. You are afraid of going into a dark room. Why? You don't know. Once you know that there is nothing there, you are not afraid. Death is a fear because you don't take enough time to think about it and you don't know what lies beyond it. That's right. When people are afraid of lightning, even lightning strike, they think has their name on it. Once you understand that the lightning you see can never strike you, that it has already struck somewhere else, you will never be afraid. The lightning that gets you, you will never see. Knowing this, you will thereafter always enjoy the fireworks in the sky because lightning is one of the most beautiful sights you can ever see. So, freedom from fear is freedom for everything. It is the first step toward true knowledge. It is only when you are ignorant that you are afraid. Is there life after death? What day? What is that? Can you tell me what is on the other side? Laughs. Death is the empty body you leave behind when you leave your body and go away. So death is a state of the body, not you. Claps with glee. Who are you? Who is in this body? Who is now experiencing everything through the body? The self? No, the mind and intellect. The inner equipment operates through the body, right? I hear through my ears, I see through my eyes, I experience through my body and my senses. I am not, I am the experiencer who experiences the outer world through this body. I go to work every day and use my business equipment, phones, computers, and telex to contact the outside world to conduct my business. When I gather all my equipments and move from premises A to the better site B, I am born again in shop B. In front of shop A, I would write move 3 blocks down to the left. In the same way, when you move out of this body with everything you have, all your equipment, your faculties, the condition of the body is called death. Everybody must die, but nobody can die. This life of yours is just one incident in your eternal existence. You will appear again in another body, in fresh pastures, with a new body, a new wife, new children, a new profession, laughs. मज़ा है मरने में. It is fun to die. Once you realize this, you will think of death as a great advantage. You will be anxious to die. The only thing that hold one back are one's attachments. The money, the woman, the fixtures. Play. Play with everything, with money, with everything in the world, knowing that you are here only temporarily. Play as a sojourner, not as a native of the place. Poet, writer, translator of the Upanishads. These are only parts of one's present guise. Next time you will perhaps be a Swami, who knows? You called schizophrenia the Arjuna disease in one of your Gita talks, but it is no longer just a human affliction. People, cultures, and nations are suffering from this personality breakup. How can mankind how can mankind cure this problem and find its true identity? By reading the Gita. Arjun conquered it by listening to Krishna. In the last chapter, he says, I shall fight. Did I say I won't? I don't remember having said I won't. He conquered his indecision. But wasn't his indecision his refusal to fight supremely moral? Such indecision is moral, true. However, it can only produce disaster for the decision maker and society. I won't say it is immoral, but that which brings unhappiness to you and to society is called evil. That which brings happiness to everyone is a noble and virtuous act. But the same act at different points of its history can have totally different connotations. It can be interpreted differently. Galileo was persecuted in his time. Today he would be a hero if he were to make the same kind of discoveries. Scientists, messiahs, poets, and philosophers have been killed at some points of history and worshipped at others for saying almost the same things. How can you judge an act independent of its time frame? Your attention is on the act. I am asking you to attend to the individual. Take Rama walking away from the palace. When he walked away, he must have known that his father was very sensitive and might even die because of his decision to go away. To live up to the ideals you Hinduism, your greatness, what you do with what you possess. In the modern material, nobody questions. What you do with it, nobody questions. In India, we are not concerned with what has any respectability in religion. Is religion in action, not Hinduism, Christianity, Buddhism, or Islam? Theologians can go to hell as far as the common man is concerned. We need not who actually work for social causes. We need those who actually work for social causes for love. Isn't this as it should be? Perfect. But also remember that without Mother Teresa, the nun, you would never have Mother Teresa, the social worker. It is the religion that is behind everything she does, so you cannot discount that. She is what she is because of her past. What is the future going to be like for man? The future depends on the past modified by the present. Never ask anyone about the future, not even an astrologer. The future is not in the sun, moon, stars, or planets. The present is the product of the past. The future is the past modified in the present. If you don't modify the past, you will continue the same way forever. Your future will be nothing other than the past. A last question. Do you believe in the existence of God or a supreme power? Honestly speaking, honestly speaking, if you want me to speak in an autobiographical mood, I will say I believe in God. But this question is illogical because my belief or disbelief is not going to help you or the world. You are inquisitive and that's why you ask. It is my belief, full stop. Recently, a young man, a youngster came to my ashram. He said, Swamiji, yesterday I listened to your talk. Can I talk to you in private? So I asked everybody to go out. The youngster then said, Swamiji, I don't believe in God. When he said this, I asked him, Son, what God is? This you are talking about. Which God are you not believing in? The fellow said, Swamiji, this rascal God, who is the cause of all this confusion in the world, this poverty, death, infant mortality, these wars, and so much human sufferings. I don't believe in such a God. I said, Son, in this room, at this moment, there are two non believers. I also don't believe God. Also don't believe in such a God. The fellow was flabbergasted and said, Then what God do you believe in? I said, Now, that's a creative question. That I will answer. So I clapped my hands and called everybody in, for there was nothing private about it anymore. Yes, you have also asked me a creative question. My answer is simple. I believe in my God. Read your own translations of the Upanishads. Read my introduction to them, and you will know what that God is. Laughter of the lesser intellect. First, we will read all the thoughts. Quotations. Lord Ganesha's large ears represent the importance of Shravanam, of continuous and intelligent listening to the teacher. Lord Krishna's life is an example, an ideal for man to change his attitude in life how he should live and perform his duties. The highest satsang is to tune your mind to the ultimate truth, Sat, at all times. Keep smiling. Let nothing that happens around you unnecessarily affect you. Consider them all as Sri Krishna Leela. Realizing I am consciousness, abide in the self and be happy. Chant his name always. Be you in work, walking, relaxing, in sorrow, in joy, or in any other circumstance. May Lord Krishna's grace flood you out of samsara pains. The secret of Krishna's smile amidst his boisterous life is the theme of the Gita. May all seekers come to live life in Krishna bliss. Krishna's call to man was a call to duty, the call of work, the call of living God's experience in and through life. To awake to the state of Krishna consciousness is to awake to a larger, vaster, infinite awareness of the meaning of life. With his axe, Sri Ganesha cuts off the attachments of his devotees to the world of plurality and thus ends all their consequent sorrows. To realize the self is itself the greatest worship that one can offer to the self. I am the self is the spiritual experience, the final wisdom. To live the life indicated by the rishis is the greatest seva that an imperfect mortal can offer to the man of perfection. The fall of the self to be the selfish ego is spiritual suicide. Let him grow among the noble feelings of devotion and dedication, the gopis and gopas. Let us hail him and await his birth in us. The broken tusk of Lord Vinayak indicates that a real Vedantic student of subjective experience is one who has gone beyond the pairs of opposites. A self realized master's mere existence in the world is in itself a blessing to the people and their whole era. Unless one has love and tolerance, one cannot accommodate the vast idea of Vedanta. Sri Krishna Jayanti is an occasion to rededicate our lives to Him and remodel our behavior, fashioning our thoughts and actions towards His beauty and wisdom. Satsang is not the company of sadhus, but the company of their thoughts, which helps us to tune our mind to the divine. Live not as a victim of the universe, but as the substratum. When our enemies are standing ready to pound down all our hopes of the future, let us throw up our unintelligent prejudices and take to remarking ourselves into a united people, proud of our past, self sacrificing in the present, and hopeful of the future. Through karma, bhakti, and jnana yoga, reach Him. Awaken to that plane of consciousness and come to experience Krishna Mayam Jagat. Krishna power is in every one of us. It is for us to make it bright. If the mind is filled with sattva, the other two gunas perish by themselves. In life, we seek the truth, while life is nothing but truth. To rediscover our own self is the culmination of evolution. It brings total contentment, a complete sense of fulfillment. To experience this is the goal. Read, reread, and again read the scriptures. Think, reflect, and meditate. Try to break free from your binding vasanas. To live in a spirit of sacrifice after renouncing completely one's ego and its desires is true sannyas. Live through life rejecting nothing and willfully wishing for nothing. Let the Radha in you merge in love with her blue boy of Vrindavan. He alone is, all else is Maya. See the self's glory everywhere, in the musician's voice, in the roar of the lion, in the murmurs of love, and equally in the shouts of murderers. Continue the practice. When the very knowledge of Vedanta has become deep rooted in us, automatically our responses to external challenges would also change radically. Lord Krishna is both the way and the goal. He alone is our Gati. Now we go to the laughter of the lesser intellect. Swami Chinmayananda. The Supreme in the symbol. The Supreme Reality is unknown. Human equipments cannot directly come into contact with it. Hence, various idols are provided in Hindu mythological literature to serve it as a means to reach the unknown ideal. Idols by themselves are not the reality but only pointers indicating it. Lord Ganesha is one such idol having a mystical significance besides being a figurative representation of the Supreme God. The idol of Vinayak itself suggests the meaning and the method by which one can reach the goal of perfection indicated therein. Gross, gross and subtle, two arcs of the intellect. Ganapati is described in the Puranas as having been beheaded and his head replaced with that of an elephant. This idea expressed therein is that man gains profound knowledge and wisdom through the study of and reflection on the scriptural truth. The intellect of the discriminating faculty in man is said to be located in his head. Similarly, the Ganesha's supreme wisdom, we find two types of intellectual discrimination, the gross and the subtle. The field of discrimination of the gross is the realm of objects and beings of the world, which is purely objective. In contrast, the feeling of the subtle is the subjective discrimination between the real and the unreal, the infinite and the finite, the imperishable and the perishable, etc. In Vigneshwara, there is a happy combination of these two faculties. This idea has been well brought out by the trunk, which represents the intellect protruding from his head. The trunk of an elephant has the unique capacity to engage in both gross activities such as uprooting a tree and in subtle operations such as picking a needle from the ground. A man of realization is, therefore, perfect in his discrimination, judgment, and application, not only in the subtle themes of spirituality, but also in the gross world of materialism. The moon's misguided laugh. There is a common belief that on the Vinayak Chaturthi day, it is inauspicious to see the moon. The Puranic story goes that the moon saw Ganesha riding on his tiny rat and laughed at the ludicrous scene. Hence, the moon was condemned, and people are forbidden to see her on this day. The moon is the presiding deity of the intellect. The moon laughing at Ganesha riding on his vehicle indicates the lesser and perverted intellects, scoffing at the man of realization who is sincerely enduring with his limited equipments to convey the message of the transcendent reality to humankind. He finds it almost impossible to convey his infinite experience through the medium of the limited ego. The perceiver, feeler, thinker. Hence, we find that the words and deeds of all spiritual masters are peculiar and incomprehensible. But the generation that mocks such great souls ceases to learn the highest values of life and naturally meets with degradation and disaster. Lord Ganesh, thus giving us the goal of perfection and a precise path to achieve it, occupies a distinguished place in the Hindu pantheon. May He give us the strength and courage to pursue the path which He had laid and gain the goal which He has reached. Next article, Compassionate Vision Transforming Mission. Swami Tejomayananda. Excerpts from a talk given by Puja Guruji to study group Sevikas at Chinmay Vibhuti, May 2017. We are familiar with the life and work of our Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda, as well as statistics related to the mission. But the question we must ask is, why did he do all that he did? Compassionate Vision Transforming Mission. To invoke His grace we pray. समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. Kritanyata verse 1 by Swami Tejomayananda. We bow down to Gurudev whose greatness lies in being foremost among the knowers of Brahman. Brahmavit Varam. What distinguishes a Brahmavit? He is not merely someone who knows I am Brahman, and the world is worthless. His divine vision enables him to see that he is Brahman and that in essence all jivas are also that same Sachidananda Brahman. Although Ananda is the true nature of all jivas, they suffer. From the standpoint of a Brahma Jnani, there is no real cause to suffer, for we are all of the nature of bliss. Yes, yet, when suffering exists, it must have a cause. The Gita says, Ajnanenavrutam jnanam, tena muhyanti jantavaha. Knowledge is veiled by ignorance, hence beings are deluded. Deluded about their true nature, they suffer from sorrow, delusion, and fear. Shoka, moha, bhaya. To one caught in suffering, that suffering seems very real. The realized one does not coldly dismiss their pain, saying, "What suffering are you talking about, you fool?" The Brahmajnani knows not only that he is Brahman, but also that the entire world is of the nature of Brahman. For that is his greatness. He sees that jivas suffer because they are ignorant of their true nature. Deeply aware of their sorrow, he is filled with karuna when he sees their pitiable state. That is why the above prayer refers to his compassion, ocean of compassion. Compassion is a vital aspect of an individual's personality. Today, apathy is widespread. People often lack feeling, empathy, and concern for the comfort and condition of the less fortunate. Some work only for the welfare of select communities, but Gurudev was not among them. He worked for the kalyan of samasta jana, the well-being of all people. That is why he is called Satchidananda, Sarvahita Chintaka, one who is concerned with the good of all. His compassion extended beyond any boundaries of gender, age, nationality, and creed. To such a Guru, we offer our salutations. Namami Chinmayam Deva. The knower of Brahman who recognized everything as Brahma, Swarupa, and has compassion for everyone. When dharma declines and adharma rises, the Shastras declare that Bhagavan takes an avatar. While this is logical, the deeper reason for his incarnation is his compassion. Compassion is the chief cause. Only those who feel act, only those who feel act. Knowledge, though the chief cause, compassion is the chief cause. Only those who feel act. Knowledge, though essential, is not enough. Feelings are what truly move a person. However, in attempting to alleviate another's sorrow, one must not get swept away in grief. If both start weeping, a third person will be needed to console them. After India's independence, when Gurudev saw the country's sorrowful condition, his heart melted. The decline of India's cultural fabric began during British rule. Materially, materially, Bharat was once considered Sone ki chidiya, a golden bird, but socially the country has become a pale shadow of itself. Today, disheartened by the state of the world, many have stopped reading newspapers or watching the news, but such withdrawal does not improve the situation. There is a story of a man who complained to God, saying, "Look at the miserable condition of the world. Everyone is suffering. Why don't you do something?" God replied, "I have done something. I made you. If you see suffering, do something about it. Gurudev understood that passive compassion is of no use. Compassion must be expressed through action. One may claim to be humane and feel deeply for the suffering of others, but if one does nothing to ease their pain, the feeling is hollow. A realized master knows that people suffer due to ignorance and he is impelled to act. The question is what should be done? What is the most effective help at such a time? The sacred stream of knowledge. Imagine someone who possesses a priceless diamond but is unaware of its value. He believes himself to be destitute. What should a caring person do? Merely awaken him to the truth of what he already has. That is enough to remove his sorrow. This is precisely what Gurudev did. He recognized the immense value of our spiritual culture and religion. Though this knowledge was our very own, we were unaware of it. So Gurudev was inspired to initiate Jnana Yajnas. He made people aware of their true suffering, own suffering, its root cause, and a knowledge that could liberate them, a knowledge that was already their heritage. He encouraged them to strive for it. This is how his work began. His very first Jnana Yajna started with just a handful of people in a small Ganesh temple in Pune. Yet, in a brief time, it blossomed into a global spiritual movement. It is not merely a series of lectures or activities. It is a movement that awakened people to their own true nature and made them proud of their spiritual and cultural legacy. Gurudev wanted us not just to know this knowledge intellectually, but to own it. Only when we know and claim it as ours do we experience the true joy of possessing it. And only then does inner transformation take place. When we understand the value of this precious knowledge, our lamenting ends. The sudden joy that lights up a face is the outer sign of the inner awakening. This is the transformation that true knowledge brings. Next article, Ever with Us, written by Swami Swarupananda. Om Aniketaya Namaha. Salutations to the one who has no abode. Niketa means abode, home, house, or residence. Puja Gurudev was truly a global citizen. Sannyasis, monks who have renounced all worldly ties, are meant to live without possessions or a fixed dwelling. They are aniketa, without a home, ever on the move. Though Gurudev established many ashrams, learning centers, and institutions that serve thousands, he never considered any of them his own. When asked if a certain ashram belonged to him, his reply was always the same: No, it is not mine. Homeless, at home everywhere. From the absolute standpoint, Bhagavan declares that which pervades the entire body, know it to be indestructible. Avinashi is the imperishable, all pervasive reality, unconditioned by space. Gurudev was a realized master, one who had become one with the all pervading Atman. What could possibly shelter that Atma, the very shelter of all that exists? Can space itself have an abode? Space houses all things, yet it is not housed by anything. Explanation of the Nama Om Aniketaya Namaha, edited from Puja Swamiji's talks. He did it, and so can you. For a renunciate, there is no home. That is the essential difference between a sannyasi and a grihastha. A grihastha is not merely one who lives in a house, but one who remains tied to it. Stha means dwelling in and bound by it. A sannyasi owns nothing. Gurudev was always on the move, never settled in one place for long. Every week or two, he travelled from one city to another. When asked what would happen to the mission after him or who would continue his work, his answer was immediate. This ashram is not mine. I am only doing the Lord's work. Just as He made me fit for this, He will choose and prepare someone else. And if all of this should fall apart, so be it. It belongs to the Lord, not me. Gurudev lived the essence of Aniketa not as an idea but as a lived reality. The Atman cannot be confined to any dwelling, and one established in the Atman has no need of shelter. Thus, a sannyasi should possess nothing, not even have the idea of possession. Possession gives rise to tension and anxiety, the fear of losing. That is why traditionally sannyasis were meant to move constantly, never rooted, never attached, even while spreading knowledge. They must not see any center or ashram as theirs. Some, after building ashrams, become so settled and comfortable that they turn into ashramastha, resident of their ashram. But like a flowing river which stays pure by moving, a wandering sadhu is most vibrant. Gurudev, despite all he built and accomplished, lived with no abode. Daksha's blessed curse. In fact, all saints and sages have been, in a sense, cursed down not to remain in one place. This tradition dates to the time of Narad Muni, who is perhaps considered the first true missionary. It is said that Brahmaji created two types of beings, those who are aspired for knowledge and realization and therefore had no interest in marriage or worldly pursuits, the sannyasis, and those who carried forward the activity of creation, the dakshas. The sannyasis lived apart from the world. Sanat Kumara, Narad Muni, and others were all renunciates. Daksha Maharaj, Narad Muni's elder brother, had 10 sons. In those days, before getting married, young men had to undergo a period of discipline and austerity. So these 10 were sent to the forest to do tapas for several years. After that, they would enter Grihastha ashram. On their way, Narad Muni met them and gave an inspiring discourse. All 10 gained self knowledge, turned inward, and chose a life of meditation. They never returned. Daksha Maharaj, unaware of what had happened, later fathered 100 more sons. These two were sent to the forest for austerity. Once again, Narad Muni met them and said, "Look at your father's condition on one side, and on the other, the bliss your brothers enjoy. Learn from their experience. Example, all 100 followed the path of renunciation. Daksha was very annoyed with his useless sons. He produced 9 daughters, got them married, and became a proud grandfather, having successfully inspired 110 nephews to take up the renunciate life. Narad Muni went joyfully to Daksha and announced, "All your sons have renounced and become sannyasis. You are old now, still clinging to your throne and pleasures, yet your sons have turned inward." The truth hit Daksha hard. Furious, he shouted, "So you are the culprit. My own brother has emptied my house and taken away all my sons. From now on, let it be so. Brahmacharis and sannyasis must never stay in one place. If you stay, you will turn to everyone into a brahmachari. Then how will the world go on? You shall never remain in one place. This is my curse." But when Narad Muni heard this, he rejoiced. He took it as a blessing. Now, bound by destiny, he could travel endlessly, inspiring countless others. His missionary work would never cease. Such is the love and compassion of our saints and sages. Once someone asked Gurudev, "Swamiji, what if everyone became a sannyasi?" Gurudev laughed and replied, "Don't worry, you will not become a sannyasi. But if everyone did, the world would be a better place. Worry not." No home belonged to Gurudev. His love, service, and enthusiasm would not allow him to remain in one place. He neither held on to nor was he ever bound by any place, institution, or home. He would often observe, "Every home is open. No one who has got no home. When you live in a house, you are often filled with tension regarding matters related to that house. You are full of chinta, worry. Achintya is one who is free from worry. To constantly tense and worried householders, Gurudev would advise, be achintya, be without any worry." Shankaracharya counsels, "Why do you worry about your family and possessions? Is there not an ordainer who provides for the birds? There is worry when we lack faith." In his book My Trek to Uttarakhand, Gurudev mentions that Tapovan Maharaj told him, "Go on a, go on a padayatra, carrying no money and no food with you. God will take care of you. He will provide you with food and everything that you need." Gurudev was a young, lean person at that time. There were times during this trek when neither shelter nor food was available nearby. Suddenly, out of nowhere, somebody would appear with food. Gurudev wrote, "Once I was so hungry for a few days. It was hot and I went and sat under a tree. One old woman came out from behind a tree and got hold of my feet. She had been waiting for a sadhu because it was her grandson's birthday. She had made kheer and wanted to offer a bhiksha to a sadhu. That day, Gurudev was fed by this unknown. When birds migrate from one place to another, Are they worried? These homeless birds make their nests wherever they go. That carefree life of a renunciate is Aniketa. Puja Gurudev became one by following his Guru's instructions, infinite reach and love. This body is considered a home for the soul, that is, as though dwelling in it. Gurudev would remark that in our ignorance we think that we are a body with a soul, but true knowledge enables us to realize that we are a soul with a body. Aniketa refers to one who does not even consider the body as their home. Therefore, even his body is not for him. His body goes everywhere to serve everybody. This is subtler meaning of Aniketa. In the Chinmaya Arati, we sing that Gurudev resides in Siddhabadi, not because it's his permanent abode, but because we need a place to associate with Gurudev and a form to concentrate. Gurudev loved the Himalayas. His Guru had told him to return to the Himalayas. Gurudev's presence is there in every place, but certain places have become strongly associated with him, and we feel as though he is there permanently. In 1991, Gurudev stayed in Siddhabadi for 1.5 months. He was recovering from a heart attack. His heart was functioning at 15% capacity, and the doctor had advised him to undergo a bypass surgery. A few of us stayed with him. Everybody requested Gurudev not to travel at all after the surgery. But can you stop the wind from moving? One day I was sitting alone with Gurudev, who was reading the newspaper. He loved Siddhabadi, but Gurudev was a people's man. He was always sharing and serving everyone. Such a person cannot be confined to a specific location. For some time, we were quiet. Then he looked at me and said, I am just waiting to get out of here. Gurudev, you sound like a teenager. He looked straight into my eyes and said, there is so much to do to be done. Having accomplished so much, he still felt that there were many more people to reach. As soon as he was allowed to travel, he went to the world's top universities to connect with people. His love was all pervasive. He was willing to give himself completely to serve others. Such is the expansive love of Gurudev and other saints for all of us. Today, Gurudev's presence is everywhere, at all times, ever with us. May we be inspired to work and serve like him. Next article, yes. Memorable moments with the Master, Part 2. Swami Shantananda. The mind has three gunas: sattva, purity; rajas, activity; and tamas, inertia. Purity, activity, and inertia or indolence. When it is predominantly influenced by tamas and rajas, we experience the manifestations of sat and chit. Your anxiety, agitation, and worry exist, and you are aware of it. Most of us live in a state of tamas and rajas, or a combination of the two. Very rarely do we dwell in sattva. Only then the mind becomes sattvika. Does the only when the mind becomes sattvika does the third aspect of Brahman Ananda bliss manifest. Fire outside, silence within. So, why aren't we happy? The answer is simple. Our thoughts are not sattvika. The key to happiness is to keep the mind sattvika. How to do that? Start early from Bal Vihar onwards. Puja Gurudev's mind was always sattvika. People sometimes criticized him, calling him a modern Durvasa, but he never reacted. Surprisingly, he would never truly get angry, or instead, his anger was a different type, a different kind. There's a saying in noble people anger lasts a moment, in average people, it lasts hours, in lesser minds, it lasts a day or a lifetime. Gurudev's anger lasted a second, then it was gone. He's, if someone prostrated before him, the next moment he had already forgotten the incident. He used to say, anger is in my earth and Ravana in Lanka. In Dwapar Yuga, they were in the same family. Cultivate a quiet. I would get up more out of fear than discipline. It is not that I disliked waking early, but I certainly liked to sleep a little longer if I could. Somehow Gurudev sensed this. He knew. During my time at the ashram, while I was studying in the Vedanta course, Gurudev assigned me the task of opening the temple door every morning at 4:30 a.m. That meant I had to be up by 3:30 a.m. to take a bath and then be ready for the day. At that time, I thought of it as a punishment. However, I later realized it was a blessing in disguise. This is how a guru teaches. He sees through you, your strengths and weaknesses, and guides you accordingly. In the past, this was the beauty of the Guru Shishya Parampara. The teacher and student lived together. They observed one another closely, which created opportunities for genuine adjustment and transformation. But today, the system is very different. Power over phenomena. On another occasion, in Siddhabari, during the inauguration day, Swami Tejomayananda ji and I were both present. We arrived a day early to make all the necessary arrangements. That evening, it began to pour heavily, and in Siddhabadi, rain is particularly troublesome. Thick mud gathers everywhere, especially under your shoes, making movement difficult and messy. The inauguration was scheduled for the next day, with VIPs, including chief ministers, expected to attend. It was a major event. The trustees, Jagdish Prasad, grew anxious and went to Gurudev to ask what should be done. Gurudev calmly replied, I sent an application. And sure enough, on the day of the inauguration, the rain stopped. The sun came out bright and clear. The weather was perfect. People arrived from all the surrounding villages. We spent the entire day feeding them, cooking rice and dal for all who came. Then the very next day, Gurudev left Siddhwadi, and the moment he departed, the rain returned. He had that kind of power, the ability to influence even phenomenal forces. Humility incarnate. Once, when Gurudev was in Madras giving discourses, Kanchi Paramacharya was also holding a camp nearby. A devotee who was attending Gurudev's lectures informed him of the Paramacharya's presence. Gurudev responded immediately, "Oh, he is here. I want to meet him and have his darshan." The devotee conveyed Gurudev's request, and Gurudev was advised to come through the back door as the front was crowded with people. He was quietly led in, and there, seated in stillness, was Kanchi Paramacharya. The moment Gurudev saw him, he prostrated fully, falling flat in reverence. When Gurudev stood up, Paramacharya said gently, "You are a sannyasi, I am a sannyasi. Why do you prostrate?" Gurudev laughed and said, "What sannyasa? I only wear this robe so that people will listen to me." I still remember clearly. Paramacharya smiled and said, "You are humility incarnate. Attention, compassion, and depth." Gurudev never wasted any time. He was a voracious reader. At his beside, there would always be a book, and even in the bathroom, a joke book. When he decided to do something, he set his mind to it and completed it with precision and care. Once he decided to write a commentary on the Ashtavakra Gita. Every morning, as soon as he got up, he would write his commentary on a verse so thorough and meticulous. So thorough and meticulous. He completed the entire work, and it remains a masterpiece. There was a time I forgot my clothes. I had wished them and hung them out to dry. But the next day, Swamiji instructed me to proceed to the next place. In those days, I would travel ahead, taking a train and carrying Gurudev's extra suitcase. The host at the previous location discovered I had left my clothes behind and informed Gurudev. When Gurudev arrived, he smiled and said, "Ha, I got your clothes." I had completely forgotten about them, and I felt terrible. Someone had packed the clothes and handed them to him, and he himself brought them to me. I felt like going into the earth. That day, so ashamed, but that was his greatness. He had no ego. It never even occurred to him to think, why should I carry someone else's clothes? Nothing of that sort. Another personal experience took place in Uttarkashi, where our entire student batch attended a spiritual camp. Gurudev was coming from elsewhere and would be with us for 90 days. lecturing on Vivek Chodamani. I was still serving as Gurudev's secretary, and being a somewhat Rajasic person, I was quite hyper, but I wasn't even aware of it. One day, a Swami pulled me aside and asked, "Why you are so stressed?" I said, "Stressed?" He replied, "Yes, you look so restless. What's going on? You are working with such a Mahatma." Then he said something that stayed with me. "Serving Gurudev is your sadhana." He advised me to ask Gurudev for a mantra to chant. Now, I had seen people dismissed for asking Gurudev for a mantra. Many times he would say nothing, or more often than not say no. But this Swamiji insisted, "Tell him I told you." The next morning, I prostrated Gurudev before Gurudev and gathered the courage to ask him for a mantra. Gurudev looked at me and said, "Okay, tomorrow." The following day, true to his word, he gave me the mantra. He told me not to forget it and to chant it daily. "It is your rope to climb the ladder," he said. But I wasn't using it. I got caught up in my studies and work. The Gurudev was sincere, but I was not. After the course ended, I went to Rishikesh and stayed there for 2 years to study Sanskrit. In those days, we lived like sadhus. During that time, I told Gurudev, "Now I am using the mantra. I am chanting it regularly." He smiled and said, "Good. Even if you leave it, the mantra won't leave you." Lesson in true renunciation. While living in Rishikesh, we used to go out for bhiksha, 5 rotis and some dal at around 10 in the morning. However, around the same time, many refugees had also arrived in Rishikesh to receive food. Some of them started wearing saffron robes. The food organizers eventually discovered this and, to verify who was a genuine sadhu, began questioning everyone. One day, they stopped me as well and started interrogating me, "Who is your guru?" and asked 1,000 questions harshly and rudely. I wasn't used to that type of treatment. In the ashram, we were treated with such respect that it was almost royal. I came back and asked Gurudev, "Why did you send me there? They are so rude." Gurudev replied, "I sent you there for that very purpose, to remove ego and pride. Unless you go through that and live like a sadhu, you won't have seen the bottom of life. When you become a sadhu, you become fearless because you have hit the rock bottom of life. No one can threaten you, and a deep confidence emerges from within. This is called real stress management." From lesson into renunciation. From ego to enlightenment. By the time Gurudev descended to the plains, he was already immersed in 24-hour meditation. When asked how long should I meditate, he replied that he meditated continuously, 24 hours a day. His entire life he was absorbed in Paramatma, existing in a state of constant meditation, never departing from it. First, you must meditate to experience it, and Gurudev said that he had. We too must meditate to attain that experience. In meditation, The one meditating is the ego. The ego seeks to understand its origin, which is why there is the inquiry. But the ego does not realize that inquiry is, in fact, its own annihilation. Knowledge is something gained through listening to the scriptures. Meditation is not for realizing the truth. We often think that by meditating we become realized. In truth, meditation is meant to clear the clouds. The truth is already with us, within us. We do not need to create it. Paramatma is always present, but we are unable to perceive it. Even though we are exposed to the teachings, we struggle to grasp them. We have accumulated so many things: inferiority complexes, superiority complexes, jealousy, hatred, all of which we have unconsciously stored in our subconscious. Despite the teachings being right in front of us, they do not take effect. We may even think the Guru is ineffective and people start shopping for another Guru. But the issue lies not with the Guru, but with our own unprepared minds. When the mind is not ready, the teachings cannot penetrate. Meditation is a path of preparation, making the mind ready for the knowledge to unfold. Gurudev was already realized that he conducted meditation classes. He was always, when he conducted meditation classes, he was always in meditation, embodying that same that state fully. Meditation can be frustrating. You have heard the story of the churning of the ocean. This is symbolic of meditation. The Devas and Asuras represent the positive and negative forces, respectively, while the mind is the ocean. The ego acts as the rope, pulling this way and that way. The mantra serves as the rod. As we churn, what emerges is poison, our impurities. Before meditation, we may feel that we are a good person, but after meditation, we often feel irritated because our negative tendencies surface. It can seem like we are worse off, and the meditation is to give up, and the temptation is to give up. But we should congratulate ourselves. Gurudev used to say that under low light you can't see the dirt, but if you increase the voltage, every speck of dirt becomes visible. Similarly, in meditation, as we increase our sensitivity, we start to see our impurities more clearly. Don't try to analyze what's happening. You won't be able to control it. Instead, learn to unload your burdens, and then all good things will naturally emerge. His story, Swami Vimalananda, composed in June 1994. I want to be a flower by the wayside stone that shies from none but smiles at everyone. It is neither proud nor humble of its inherent beauty. It is neither fearless nor seeks undue security. It resists no traveller's stare nor seeks his overt care. It does not bloom when caressed, nor close when unduly harassed. The stone gives rest and shelter to the weary traveler's plight. The flower brings joy and beauty to the lonely traveler's sight. May he be the shelter and I his glory in his eternal book, a flowery story. ओम भारत गौरवाय नमः अरविंद भागवत Sri Arvind Bhagavat joined the Chinmay family after marrying Medha, and they have been actively serving Chinmay Mission Washington Regional Center since relocating to Maryland in 1988. Medha and Arvind took early retirement in 2017 to undergo the 2-year Vedanta course at Sandipani Sadhanalaya in Powai, Mumbai. They returned to Chinmay Mission West Regional Center to continue to serve Pujya Gurudev. Om Bharata Gauravaya Namaha. Salutations to the one who is the pride of Bharata India. The name Bharata Gaurav aptly describes the mission and vision of Pujya Gurudev, which is to glorify the great culture of Bharata through deeds, thoughts, and legacy. In the early 60s, India was struggling to find the purpose of its newly acquired freedom. Being honored in the West by Indian saints was a matter honored in the West by Indian saints was a matter of pride for most Hindus. Befittingly, Pujya Gurudev was felicitated in various towns upon his maiden world tour. Dr. Tamboli Bethesda MD recalls how the crowd felt both uplifted and enthralled in at the same time upon hearing Pujya Gurudev's humorous opening comments at one such reception in the city of Gwalior, India. Pujya Gurudev said, "Do you think Americans don't need to pray? Every American wakes up in the morning and prays to God. Oh God, please help me find a place in the parking lot." Material prosperity without purpose in life will never bring satisfaction or contentment. Our culture is great because it defines the purpose of human life, which is to serve God and God alone. That is the only way to become great. Feel proud of your culture, which we dedicate to God. This is indeed Bharata Gaurava. Grab the chance. Although I still chuckle to myself whenever I recall these words, especially while struggling to find a parking spot. The real meaning of Puja Gurudev's words became clear during activities related to Bal Vihar in 1990. The Ramakrishna Mission RKM Washington chapter had scheduled a 2-day retreat and requested our assistance by conducting Bal Vihar activities during their retreat. Receiving this atypical request, we did not know how exactly to respond. A letter was sent to Puja Gurudev in India seeking permission to do such a favor to RKM Ramakrishna Mission. 3 weeks passed and we were all eagerly waiting for Puja Gurudev's response. A day before the Ramakrishna Mission camp began, we received Puja Gurudev's telegram from Melbourne, Australia that said, "Grab the opportunity to serve the Lord." Now, after so many years, I can't help but read more deeply into this earnestness to serve in my limited vision A favor was requested by Ramakrishna Mission. Gurudev corrected that by pointing out the principle of Bharata Gaurava to bring divinity in simple acts. He was teaching us that it is an opportunity to serve and hinted that it is not they, but it is the Lord whom you are serving. This is the knowledge, Bha, and he wanted all of us to rejoice in Rata by serving. This never occurred to me while engaging with children during the few sessions at the Ramakrishna Mission retreat. But now, thinking back, Puja Gurudev has taught us how to think. A spirit of true service uplifts our culture by guiding us to see the same Lord in all organizations and serving wholeheartedly. More importantly, he was teaching us that it is a privilege to serve the Lord, an opportunity, and one must grab it. When our enemies are standing ready to pound down all our hopes of the future, let us throw up our unintelligent prejudices and take to remaking ourselves into a united people proud of our past. Down March 25 to May 31, 2020, due to the outbreak of COVID 19 for Mananam on Srimad Bhagavatam, drawing nearly 100 participants. A voice audio was released and a daily exercise was assigned to the participants. The questions were based on the template, Why did Krishna do? This is the 22nd article in the series. This series, fitting from Leela to Leela, is finally nearing its culmination in that most exalted, intimate, subtle, and dangerous Leela of Bhagavan, the Rasa. The episode begins with a shloka that appears simple on the surface but contains a dizzying whirlpool of meanings that can draw and engulf us in the irresistible currents of Krishna Bhakti. भगवान अपिता रात्रि शरदोत्फुल्लमल्लिकाः वीक्षरन्तो मनश्चक्रे योगमायाम् उपश्रितः उपाश्रितः. Srimad Bhagavat, Canto 10, Chapter 29, Verse 1. Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, complete in all opulence. Yet upon seeing those autumn nights scented with blossoming jasmine flowers, he turned his mind towards the beauty of romance. To fulfill his purpose, then he employed his spiritual potency, Yogamaya. But where is Api? He also come. Bhagavan also Api made up his mind, Manas Chakre, to revel Rantum with the Gopikas. Also is used here because the Gopikas had already committed to a romantic relationship with Krishna when they performed the Katyayani Vrata. Seeing those nights, Ratri, where the flowers of autumn were in full bloom, Charadotfulla Mallikaha, he decided that the time for that reveling had come, and so he took refuge to his Yogamayam Upashritaha. So the question now is, why did Bhagavan choose the autumn season and why did he take refuge in Yogamaya? The season of wisdom. In Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas ji equates the monsoon to Rama Bhakti where the grace of Bhagavan rains down and nourishes the beautiful qualities of the heart, yielding a bountiful crops of devotees. Sharad or autumn is the season that comes right after the monsoon. It is the time when the waters of the rivers and lakes become clear and leaves fall from the trees. The inner autumn is when the lake of the mind becomes clear and the leaves of attachment dry up and fall. It is the season of Jnana and Vairagya. It is in this environment of wisdom and dispassion that the most passionate of Krishna Leelas is set. Thus, despite all outward appearances, the rasa is not a leela of lust and wanton indulgence. Instead, it is a leela of transcending desire and attachment, of letting go of all indulgences in order to attain Bhagavan. But for love to be fulfilled, the lovers must become one. For bhakti to be fulfilled, the jiva must drop its jivaness and melt into Ishvara. Bhagavan saw that even when the internal climate is conducive, the jivas struggle to do this because they are in the grip of Maya. And his love for us was such that he thought, if you cannot drop your jivatva, I will drop my Aishwarya. I will discard my godness and take refuge in Maya to meet you where you are and embrace you. In Adi Shankaracharya's words, Maya is that which makes the impossible happen. Aghatita Ghatana Patiyasi Maya. Under the influence of this Yoga Maya and the Parabrahman, which is beyond all names and forms and therefore cannot be gendered, becomes a handsome young lover. That desireless consciousness craves union with us. That infinite reality, which is beyond the reach of language, starts to whisper sweet nothings to us. That silence resting behind all the cacophony of samsara picks up a flute and lures us closer. That thoughtless awareness manifests for itself a mind, Manaschakre, that it may walk alongside us in the journey of life. The season of Samadhi, when autumn arrives in the Vrindavan of our hearts, each thought blossoms like a fresh flower, filling the air with the potent pollen of Vedanta, and the fragrance of the Upanishads wafts through the trees. The Rudakasha becomes cloudless and clear, shining with a billion brilliant stars. And in that autumn, Bhagavan chose the night when the world and all its objects are withdrawn and all activities laid aside. This is the time when each thought becomes a gopika, seeking Krishna and Krishna alone. This is the time when that special silence, which is the music of the soul, floats through the air and calls to the gopikas, drawing them irresistibly inwards, towards the self, towards consciousness. This is our moment to let our thoughts dance in full abandon, to make love to the awareness that enlivens them. Let us seize it. One of our participants shared a beautiful thought. It was thanks to Yogamaya that baby Krishna could come to Gokul and be among the Gopikas. And those Gopikas prayed to that same Yogamaya to attain Krishna as their husband. Now, Krishna too appealed to that same Yogamaya, just as You made Kamsa's guards fall asleep and all locks open so I could be brought to Gokul. Now please ensure that all the Gopika's family members are distracted so that they can easily come to unite with me. A plan for every jiva. The Gopikas are seekers, and seekers come in many forms. This shloka can be broken down in numerous ways, and each description corresponds to a distinct type of seeker and how Bhagavan reaches out to them. The ignorance. The first category might be very familiar to us, those who are ignorant, seeking happiness but not knowing where and how to find it. The word ta refers to these gopis. They are ratrihi, like the night. They are entirely enveloped in tamas. Due to this ignorance, they become Sharadat Fulla Mallikaha. Shara means an arrow or a wound. Shara means that which is as painful as a wound, that which, like an arrow, is a source of suffering. But these sharadas, in our ignorance, we see as pleasurable, sweet, soft, and enjoyable as fresh bloomed flower. Utfulla Mallikaha. Ours is not the benign ignorance that sees the rope as a snake and gets scared. Ours is the far more dangerous variety that sees the snake as a rope and ties it around our waist. How can we be lifted out of this state? The lower joy is given up only when the greater joy is experienced. When coffee is experienced, tea is given up. When we experience wine, coffee loses any value for us. When the Devamrutam is drunk, wine becomes insipid. And when we get Bhagavatamrutam, Devamrutam becomes Amrutam. It is Amrutam. Amrutam, it is dead to us and this is distasteful as a dead rat by the side of the road. So, Bhagavan decided to give these ignorant ones a taste of the highest joy. Yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate nadikam tataha. Having gained that state, these lower joys, which are like reveling in arrow wounds, become totally insignificant. Therefore, he took up his Ayoga Maya, that Maya which separates, which detaches us from our worldly preoccupations, that Maya which is meant for Ayogaha, worthless people like us. Here we can understand Maya to mean Krupa, for in our current state of pathetic delusion, it is only grace that can uplift us. The spiritual questers. The next kind of gopikas are committed seekers. They are jidnyasus. They too are ratris. Ra means to give, and such seekers are generous, using their wealth, their time, their energy to help others. To such dedicated souls, even the sweet, beautiful pleasures of the world, Utfulla Mallikaha, are as undesirable as arrows, wood, wounds, sharada, because they are impermanent and unga. In this context, possible the beauty of the Gopikas was meant for Krishna of victory over Kama in the sense of Yogya and Ayogya. Therefore, Bhagavan, he who yo, for the sake of Kamadeva, Agamaya, Agamaya, had made up his mind to reveal Rantum Manaschakre. That night took refuge Ashritaha in Amupa. Amupa. Amu means the suffering of samsara and Pa means protection. So Amupa means Brahmadhyana which protects us from the sorrows of samsara. Throughout the rasa, even while engaging in the most intense worldly pleasures, both the gopis and Krishna remained firmly rooted in the self, and it is this that served as the ultimate victory over Kama, not only in denial but also in indulgence. Their firm abidance in the highest joy would not be shaken, the special one. Finally, there was one very special participant in the Ras Leela. She was the one Yo, whose beauty Ma never fades ago, the one whose presence Yoga made Bhagavan also more beautiful Ma, the one who makes romantic union Yoga elegant, and beautiful Ma, the one whom great sages and even the devatas perform penance yoga to know Miyate, the one in whom Yam, Bhagavan himself took refuge, Upashritaha, the one whose beauty puts even the stars, Taraha, to shame, Trapate, the one whose separation made even the beautiful forest flowers fires Krishna's own heart like arrows, Sharada, the one who protects Dayate, the hearts of all from the arrows of Kama, one our own Radha, seeing whom Bhagavan got the inspiration as well as the confidence to complete the Rasa Leela successfully. For her, for the gopis, for Kamadeva, for Lord Shiva, for you, Bhagavan reached into his waistcloth and pulled out Yoga Maya, whose sound Maya united Krishna Yoga with his devotees, whose beauty Ma is manifested through Ayoga and Yoga, the separation and the touch of Krishna's fingers on the holes of his flute. Lord Shiva took the form of a samsari and joined the Rasa Leela. The slok may be seen to hint at him as he who yo brings beauty Ma to Kailas Aga. After explaining this much, Sri Vamshidhara, on whose commentary the above sections are based, says, enough of playing with words. Like the gopis dropped their housework and ran to Vrindavan, let us drop all our discursive thinking and analysis and hasten into the Vrindavan to the heart of the heart and dance to the heart's content. And if we cannot find that Vrindavan within us, let us pray to Radha to guide us there. Nirjanmopi sutayate yadukule divyopi krishnayate apranopi kalayate sumadhuram venum yamurtim chaya kalayate sumadhuram venum yamurtim chaya चक्रायते यमनो मनस् रमयितुं स्थानोश्च या नर्तकी सा प्रेमा भवभञ्जना सुखप्रदा राधे चिरं देहि नमः. O Radha, please give us here and now that love which destroys samsara and bestows bliss upon us, that love which makes the unborn take birth in the Yadav clan, which makes the ever-effulgent light of consciousness become dark, Krishna, which makes the breathless that which transcends life and death, and formless reality play sweet flute songs, which makes the pure consciousness create for itself a mind in order to revel, which makes the unchanging reality dance. Mission News highlights Chinmay Yuva Kendra National Youth Convention, Chinmay Vibhuti, Kolwan, Maharashtra. As they stood in the vast expanse of Sundarangan in Chinmay Vibhuti and saluted the soaring Chinmay Yuva Kendra flag on the bright morning of May 28, the 750 strong crowd from 22 states across Bharat knew that they were there for a single crystal clear purpose, to be there for harnessing youth potential. Swami Anukulananda, National Convener, All India Chinmay Yuva Kendra, set the precedent with an iron message: break the limits, not the rules. Pujya Swami Swarupananda delivered the an endearing yet powerfully poignant lecture on stone to perform, drawing from the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. He held classes every morning and they soon became a camp favorite, from stories of Stripe and the pillar of caterpillars to readings of love letters. The audience roared in laughter as he seamlessly wove together ancient wisdom with his signature humor. Next, the campers were engaged in group activities named after the regiments of the Indian Army. They found themselves bellowing their war cries, from exhilarating games to quiet reflection sessions. These groups became central to learning and growth. However, the most exciting part of the camp was reserved for the afternoon sessions, the guest lectures, from a retired major of the Indian Army to the lead strength and conditioning coach of the Indian cricket team. These men and women from all parts of the country brought unparalleled expertise. There were not one but two Padma Shri awardees. Major Madan Kumar led the charge, painting, painting the unbridled success of Operation Sindhu with cold facts and colder punchlines. Swami Mitrananda opened the audience's eyes to the war within Bharat's borders, a war that they were all part of, the war of narratives. Dr. Prahlad Ramarao, Director Defense Research and Defense Laboratory, talked about the country's defense development. Dr. Archana Prasad and Dr. Uma Shankar threw light on the inner workings of the National Education Policy (NEP) and the power of education. Then came several beacons from the Yuva Kendra itself. Shri Sohani Desai, lead S&C coach, Indian cricket team, Srimati Rohini Manohar, founder Chennai Yoga Studio, Shri Prasad Devade, founder, director Jade Back, and Sri Madan Mohan, CEO, Deneb and Pollux shared their heartfelt personal journeys and struggles to the top. Closing this inspiring line of speakers was Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai, the foremost authority on Chanakya in modern times. Presentations on the CORD Fellowship Youth Empowerment Program DIY Do It Yourself Dharma India and You Challenge and Chinmay Yuva Vishwavidyapit offered avenues and opportunities to harness and channel each one's youth potential. Watching Gurudev's biopic on a quest, experiencing Chinmay Jivan Darshan and traversing paths of Swanubhuti Vatika provided unique experience to each participant. In the evening, bhajans echoed across the auditorium. The twin mega shows Surya 108 by Chik Kadapa and Chandra 108 by Chik Chennai displayed meticulous practice and brilliant execution. On the evening of the third day, there were cultural presentations, CVV contingents, spectacular metaphorical dance on Operation Sindoor, CIRS choirs, soulful renditions, dances of Draupadi and Krishna, and folk presentations by Chicken Noida brought thunderous applause. The curtains came down on the camp with the participants carrying the spirit of the Chinmay Yuva Kendra in their hearts. Yajna Siddhwadi, Himachal Pradesh. To mark the special occasion of Chinmay Jayanti, Pujya Swami Swarupananda conducted talks on Amrita Bindu Upanishad from May 1 to 8 in Chinmay Tapovan Siddhwadi. The camp was joined by Swamini Shivapriyananda from Chinmay Mission Toronto, Swami Advayananda Acharya of the English Vedanta course in Sandipani, Mumbai, and Swami Prakarshananda Acharya of the Hindi Vedanta course, Siddhwadi. The camp was run smoothly from the organization of the yajnas to the daily Paduka pujas and victions. The ego does not mind suffering but does not like to be proven wrong was a compelling statement Pujya Swamiji made about the importance of being alert in gaining knowledge. Swami Advayananda led the morning meditation sessions. Swami Prakarshananda delighted all with Naveda Bhakti sessions in the afternoon. In between, there was time for contemplation and group discussions. In the evenings, Pujya Swamiji and Swaminiji held question and answer sessions. The camp concluded on the morning of May 8 with Puja Gurudev's Paduka Puja in the beautifully decorated Samadhi style. Finally, everyone was treated to Dham, the traditional feast to Himachal Pradesh. Songs in Pahadi were sung and the mood was very festive as all sat on the ground together and enjoyed the various local dishes served on leaves. Chinmay International Foundation Vilianad 65 seekers came together for the second part of the Manusmriti campaign Tamil held at Adi Shankar Nilayam from May 11 to 17. Swami Ramakrishna Nanda's exposition on the text, focusing on chapter 5 to 8, was comprehensive and inspiring. Bhopal. The Maheshwari family of Bhopal organized a soul elevating Srimad Bhagavad Katha by Swami Prabodhananda at Praveen Nilayam, Bhopal. From April 6 to 12, this sacred satsang was dedicated to the memory of Sri revealed Maheshwari one over 7 days. The eternal truths of the Srimad Bhagavatam unfolded and by gathering heard the sacred stories of Prahlad, Dhruva, Uddhav and the Lord's enchanting leelas, devotional music and bhajans by students of Chinmay Yuva Kendra Indore added a soulful dimension to the scriptural gathering. The Bhagavad Katha concluded with Samashti Bhiksha and distribution of Prasad. Chinmay Mission Jhansi organized Uttarkashi Sadhana Shibir at Tapovan Koti from June 3 to 7. Swami Devatmananda delivered discourses on tips for happy living and Brahmachari Raghavendra Chaitanya gave discourses on Dhyana Swarupam. 25 sadhaks from across the nation participated in the camp. At the conclusion, Sri Devatmananda and Brahmachari Raghavendra performed Paduka Puja. Bengaluru. Swami Gyanananda conducted a Gita Jnanyajna in Kannada on Bhagavad Gita for daily living in Sri Padakshetra, JP Nagar from May 4 to 10. Swamini Samatananda inaugurated the Yajna. Swaminiji commenced with a statement of Puja Gurudev about the Gita being a handbook for daily living. The entire scripture emphasizes leading a life with equanimity in all situations without allowing the mind to be disturbed by life's pinpricks. The yajna was well attended. Pujya Gurudev's 109th Jayanti was observed on May 8 with special bhajans and Paduka Puja. Vidyalaya News, CCMT, Education Committee, Education Council, Education Cell News. A CVP Chinmay Vision Program orientation was conducted for teachers of Tali Paramba and Kuru Mathur Chinmay Vidyalayas from May 22 to 24. Around 70 teachers and principals attended the sessions. Srimati Meena Shriram, Academic Administrator, CCMT Education Cell. Srimati Leela Ramamurthy, President Chinmay Mission, Tripunitura. Around 50 teachers and principal attended the sessions. Srimati Meena Shriram, Srimati Bhuvaneshwari, Academic Administrator CIRS. Srimati Menan Manjula Haridas, HMCV, CBSE, Vadavalli, conducted the sessions. Kannur, Kerala. Chinmay Mission Kannur observed Chinmay Jayanti with reverence at a public function. The fourth edition of the two online magazines edited by Chinmay Yuva Kendra, Chin Poets 4 and Yuvaka 4 were released. The results of Chinmay Siva scholarship were announced. The public function was followed by cultural programs featuring the staff and students of all Chinmay educational institutions, members of Kala Mandir, Bala Vihar, Chinmay Yuva Kendra and study group. Environment Day was observed at the Vidyalaya with great enthusiasm on June 5. Chief guest Shri Jose Matthew, Assistant Forest Conservator, delivered a thought-provoking speech that emphasized the urgent need for substantial living and the role of student in shaping a greener future. A notable highlight of the day was the pledge of planting 4,000 saplings, with 5,000 saplings distributed during the event. The Vidyalaya felicitated Dharmik Sundar, the aggregate school topper of Standard 10 with 97.6%, and Sarthika S. Saga, the aggregate topper of Standard 12 with a brilliant 99.2%. Trophies and certificates were also distributed to 104 students who scored above 90, and Chief Guest Shri K.V. Venugopal, Additional Superintendent Police Kannur, presented the prizes. Sahil Akshar of Standard 12 led Team Kerala as the captain and won the gold medal in the 8th National Roller Netted Ball Championship held the Trivandrum on May 10 and 11. He qualified for the International Roller Netted Ball Championship to be held in Nepal later this year. Ridin Hiran of Standard 12 was selected for the Kerala State North Zone Under 19 cricket team based on his spectacular performance in the Under 19 inter-district cricket tournament where he took 16 wickets in 4 matches. Taylor's Road, Chennai Vidyalaya, Kilpauk celebrated various events like Shakespeare's Day, Father's Day, and its inaugural Incubate Day, showcasing students' entrepreneurial ideas. The highlight was International Yoga Day, during which participants enthusiastically engaged in guided yoga sessions. Chinmay Yuva Kendra News, Chengannur, Kerala, under the guidance of Brahmachari Ananda Chaitanya. Chinmay Yuva Kendra, Chengannur, in association with NSS National Service Scheme, organized I Transform Chinmay Yuva Kendra camp at Christian College, Chengannur on June 12 and 13. On June 14, another CHIC camp was conducted at St. Birchman's College, Chengannur. Sessions on emotional transformation, unleash your potential, and so on were taken by Brahmachari Ananda, along with a lot of various fun activities, group discussions, and games. Around 150 students from the 3 colleges attended the camps. Brahmachari Ananda Chaitanya conducted through 2 sessions each for the students of Chinmay Vidyalaya, Chengannur, Vidyadhiraj Vidyapith, Chennai and Sainik School, Maveli Kara. On June 16, on June 15 he visited Balika Sadan in Budhanur, spending some time with the 35 children in the orphanage. Seva Kannur, Kerala, as part of Environment Day on June 5th, 40 enthusiastic National NCC, National Cadet Corps Army Wing cadets from Chinmay Vidyalaya Kannur actively participated in Punit Sagar Abhiyan, a beach cleaning initiative organized at Payyambalam Beach under the guidance of 31 Kerala Battalion NCC Kannur. The work continues Bengaluru, Karnataka, in the presence of Swami Brahmananda. Pratishtha Day of Dinabandhu Temple was celebrated with the usual religious fervor. On May 11, it was marked with Abhishek, followed by chantings and bhajans by students of Chinmay Bal Vihar and members of Devi group. Swami Brahmananda graces Pratishtha Day. Cord Siddhabadi HP as of 9 April 2025. Cord marks its 40-year journey in empowering rural India through its integrated people-centric development program that directly contributed to 13 out of 17 sustainable developments. integrated 40th journal. People-centered development programs directly contributed to 13 out of the 17 sustainable development goals SDGs rooted in the principle of participation, integration, sustainability and networking. CORD has expanded its outreach across 6 Indian states: Tamil Nadu, Odisha, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Andhra Pradesh, and Himachal Pradesh, impacting over 1.26 lakh direct beneficiaries and 8.3 lakhs indirect beneficiaries across 1255 villages and 255 panchayats. CORD's work focuses on enabling self-reliance among among rural communities, particularly women, farmers, and youths, the vulnerable groups, by promoting sustainable livelihoods, health, education, natural resource management, and social justice. Throughout 2024-25, CORD has supported over 91,000 women through Mahila Mandals and nearly 43,000 members through self-help groups, facilitating significant community savings and access to bank credit. Its youth and children's initiatives such as Yuvati Samuham, Bal Vihar and Swadhyay groups have nurtured leadership and value based living among thousands. The organization has empowered over 4,200 persons from disabilities, provided free and subsidized health care to nearly 6,000 patients, and successfully resolved the majority of 1,244 social justice cases, primarily related to matrimonial issues. CORD's holistic approach, coupled with its collaboration with Gram Panchayats, has strengthened community governance, sustainable agriculture, climate resilience, and inclusion. Solidified graced the opening with her course, and Sri Aparajita as educational consultant, Agastya Gurukulam, conducted dynamic sessions. Nearly 45 teenagers participated in the Thrive 2025 youth camp on Celebrate Your Roots from April 23 to 29. Brahmachari Tarini Chaitanya and Brahmachari Ved Chaitanya. Professor Gauri Mahulikar, Academic Director, CIF, and Brahmachari Sudhir Chaitanya led inspiring sessions on Indian philosophy and heritage. Special guest speakers spoke about Indian sports, astronomy, Indian history, and temple architecture. Upanishad Mala, a primer of 108 Upanishads, was released on two significant sessions, marking the beginning of an ambitious project by Chinmay International Foundation to provide English translations and notes for all 108 Upanishads listed in the Muktika Upanishad. The book was released during the Chinmay Jayanti camp at Siddhavadi by Pujya Swami Swarupananda. The book was also released at Adi Shankar Nilayam during the National Textual Workshop on Mahavakya Shankar Bhashya. Professor Mani Dravid Shastrigal released the book. The National Shastra Prashiksha Workshop on Manuscriptology and Palleonography was held at CIF Shodh Sansthan from March 12 to 21. The event was supported by the Central Sanskrit University, New Delhi, and drew participation from 42 scholars from across India. The workshop focused on traditional Indian scripts and the art of reading and editing ancient manuscripts. The inaugural session featured talks by Professor K.T. Madhavan, former chairman, Chinmay International Foundation Shodha Sansthan, Dr. P.N. Sundarsanan, Sudarshanan, Director, Chinmay International Foundation Shodha Sansthan, and Professor Gauri Maholikar, with Swami Sharadananda giving the benedictory address. In addition, many expert scholars guided the sessions. The National Textual Workshop on Mahavakya Shankarvashya was held from May 1 to 5 at CIFSS in collaboration with the Kantalur Shala Research Institute, funded by the Central Sanskrit University, New Delhi. The workshop had 26 participants from across India, in addition to students from the Vedanta Sadhaka course. Swami Sharadananda spoke on Vedanta Stotras of Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Scholarly sessions were led by eminent speakers. Swami Ramakrishnananda released CIF's latest publication, Kanakadhara Stotram, on May 21 during the ongoing Vedanta Sadhak course. The publication is authored by Professor Gauri Maholikar and Sri Pratik Rumde, Academic Administrator, CIF. Chinmay International Foundation, Shodha Sansthan, organized an intensive workshop titled Geetika from May 22 to 28, offering rigorous training in Carnatic music. The workshop followed a traditional Gurukul style format with 9 students participating from various parts of India. The inaugural session held on May 22 was graced by Swami Sharadananda and Professor Gauri Maholikar. The sessions were led by Dr. P.N. Prabhavati, Assistant Professor at the School of Kala Yoga, Chinmay Vishwavidyapit. News from abroad. Nairobi, Kenya. Pujya Swami Swarupananda blessed Chinmay Mission, Nairobi, with discourses on the Gita from June 4 to 8. The thought-provoking thoughts titled Krishna's Powerful Instructions offered deep insights into 19 specially selected verses from the Gita. Over the 5 days, attendees were guided through key teachings on topics such as duty, detachment, self-mastery, and the art of right action. Pujya Swami Swarupananda also inaugurated the site of the first Chinmay Center of Learning in East Africa, Chinmay Wana in Nairobi, Kenya, on June 7. This land just been purchased is said to house a center that will become a hub of spiritual education and community service, marking a historic milestone of Chinmay mission in the region. As part of the occasion, Swami Swarupananda and Brahmachari Darshan Chaitanya planted a sapling at the site, underscoring the mission's commitment to preserving nature and symbolizing the sacred bond between spiritual progress and environmental care. Mombasa, Kenya. Chinmay Mission Mombasa recently marked a memorable chapter in its history from June 9 to 15 with the enlightening discourses of Pujya Swami Swarupananda, who beautifully simplified and demystified the 40 verses of Sri Hanuman Chalisa, weaving them with timeless lessons from the Ramayana relevant to modern life. His inspiring talks, which drew growing in audiences, each day emphasized the noble qualities of Hanumanji and the path to success through devotion and selfless service. The event was a harmonious collaboration of diverse communities offering dedicated service complemented by vibrant youth performances, organized children's activities led by Brahmachari Darshan Chaitanya and the gracious support of Sri Kuchi Leva Patel Samaj, Kachi Leva Patel Samaj, whose venue and high-tech facilities enhanced the experience. The celebration culminated in June 15 with the collective chanting of the Hanuman Chalisa 108 times, leaving the Mombasa community deeply enriched and spiritually uplifted. Kampala, Uganda. Pujya Swami Surpananda captivated devotees in Kampala during the three-day Jnana Yajna on Navavidha Bhakti held from June 20 to 22 on the newly built Swaminarayan complex in Bukoto. With his unique blend of profound wisdom and humor, Swamiji beautifully explained the nine forms of devotion, often leaving the audience in joyful laughter while imparting deep spiritual insights. Each session offered not only knowledge but also the warmth of community as devotees came together to enjoy a delicious prasad afterwards. US and Canada. The Enhanced Seva Training Program EST, facilitated by Chinmay Niagara, is a transformative journey rooted in the principle of sadhana before seva. Over 42 weeks, 62 students engaged in over 160 hours of training guided by 9 pod facilitators, 6 training ambassador circle members, and senior Chinmay mission guides Vivekji, Shashikalaji, Sumanji, and Shankarji. The program concluded with a Samavartan ceremony honoring the sincere efforts and transformation of the 44 graduates in the presence of their families. Chinmay Cleveland Niagara began offering virtual courses 3 times a week for adults and later introduced classes for children. Parents, young adults, women, and older adults. 9 years after the inception of virtual courses, the Chinmay Cleveland Niagara community continues to serve seekers of various ages. From the ninth year, more than 100 seekers from Chinmay Cleveland Niagara's Running from the Mind community are running a half marathon as a mindful and inner tranquility practice. Starting in 2020, the Chinmay Mission Cleveland Niagara community recognized the need to broaden the practice of Dana charity. Between January 22 to March 25, over 850,000, means $850,000 has been donated to more than 30 charities operating worldwide. Then here Chinmay International Residential School admissions open in itinerary Chinmay Mission Indoor Gita Connect Jan 7th residential camp 5th to 12th October 2025 Srimad Bhagavad Sandesh campaign English by with Swami Tejomayananda 9 to 13th November in Vibhuti. Kathopanishad Swami Swarupananda 26th December 25 to 1st January 2026. Publications Shakti Upasana and Chinmay Lahari. Last article. An experience the mind feels Parampuja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda Das. An experience the mind feels is but an object of consciousness. You may experience peace, bliss, or fulfillment. All these are of God, not God Himself. They are His nature. They all declare that you are on the right path. Drop them, reject them, and continue to remain silent and steady, expecting God experience in its infinite fullness. Here ends all self effort. There you can but wait in faith, and He reveals, and you get sucked into Him. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is also a state of mind. Go beyond it, we must. To get absorbed into it, that transcends all. Through the corridor of pure consciousness, we move into that which is not even consciousness. Empty all thoughts, consciousness in its total purity, meaning when there are no objects for it to illumine, reveals its true nature as Brahman, the one sole substratum for this universe of names and forms. Awake into that God state. In that state alone, all doubts end, all contradictions in Maya clear away. It is not knowledge, it is wisdom. Their individuality and its perceptions of a pluralistic world of things and beings slide away, and the individual, fully undressed of its BMI, becomes identical with the self. Perceiver of the world dies. Therefore, at this final stage, there is no world for you to negate. Since the world is not there, God, the total mind, has no function. The individuality Jiva, the mind perceives Jagat, and God, the creator, sustainer, destroyer, power, Ishvara, has no chair to sit and protect. All three, Jiva Jagat Ishwar, merge into this supreme state. Mere study alone is not sufficient. A study gives us information. Scriptures and Shastras only give us a roadmap. You study the map, roll it up, and keep it handy by your side, as it may be useful en route the journey. Now you get up from your chair, go into your vehicle, and move along the way the map indicates so clearly. Hari Om. Om Shri Chinmay Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki